The Bunker Project is brought to you by Okanagan Springs Brewmaster Black Robust Chocolate Lager.
Oh, you are just smoothing all over that shit. It's awesome.
The best black lager you will find in the world.
Yeah, you know, it's like a dark beer that's like a lager. Go for it. That's a translation.
Welcome back to another episode of The Bunker Show. This is Bunker Project episode 130. Six. We've got the bunker dance happening.
Yeah, the bunker dancer chickies, who have a very high social media rating, by the way. Nothing to do with their dance. Whoa.
All right, welcome back to another show. Today we're going to continue on our conversation about social media influence. How to build community and influence online. We got a podcasting question from one of our mavens.
Let's talk about how to piss off a community too. That would be awesome, man.
That would be really easy for some people.
Okay, Bonnie, quit picking on me.
But
it's so easy.
Yeah, it is. Well, okay. So do you want to make that the question, or is that just too easy to question?
That's too easy.
All right, we won't do that.
No, I think that's good for
let's do
people.
a podcast relating question.
All right,
cool.
All right.
What do you think?
Yeah, okay.
Podcast or web show?
Podcast and web show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like another 45-minute round table coming
No,
up.
we'll keep it quick.
But they're full of information.
They're full of something.
We will keep we'll keep
a lot
it
of fiber,
quick.
mostly.
If you were going to do a podcast, or talk about the podcast that you're doing, and if you're not doing a podcast, if you were going to do a podcast, what
Or a
would
blog,
it
or a
be?
blog. You could talk about your blog.
No, podcast or web show. Let's just keep it that.
Let's
Yeah.
be a prima donna. Okay.
And we'll start with Byron.
Dun, dun, dun.
I've never done any of those things.
Oh,
But if you were going to do one, what would the topic be?
What would be the topic? That's
Interior
great.
design.
Yes, interior design.
Color.
Color.
Texture.
And on Twitter, you
Just
are?
color.
Oh, okay.
Biro HLP.
Cool.
Biro. I mean, that's why he's a perfect color guy, because biro in English, like England English,
Isn't that
doesn't
pen?
mean a pen. Yeah, he has a nice colored biro.
Okay. Thank you.
Nervous
Okay,
laughter.
moving on.
Another beer.
Yeah, another. Give Bob a beer. Let him pass out. Okay.
He does. All right, so I'm Marcel Lapointe, not currently on Twitter, taking a break. Right now I've got the Crazy TV Talk podcast with
Yo.
Bob, which is crazy and about the TV.
And we talk.
And yeah, I'm actually working on a second podcasty thing that'll be me. So I guess I can't tell you what my dream podcast would be because I'm gonna try and do it.
Yeah, that's what we want to know. We want to hear about
Yeah,
it.
come on.
Well, I
Tell
don't
us so
wanna
we can
tell you all
steal
my
it and do it
secret.
before you, and then you
So
don't
you're
wanna
going to
do
do
it
you're
now.
going to do TV and movie
He's going to
review
do
show.
serious.
Kind of, well, a little bit. I can still make jokes and stuff, but just a little bit more, focused and
Intellectual.
I'm not intellectual though, so it's just going to be something a little bit different, and hopefully it'll be fun. And hoping to launch in May if I can get my shit together. So that's pretty sweet.
So Bonnie last week.
Oh, also podcast and web show.
Bonnie last week, she had an idea about you could create a new Twitter handle, but you could still call it Crazy TV Talk as the
Oh,
title,
yeah, that
right?
was a nice tip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just taking a bit of a break from Twitter.
He is. He's all right. Hey, we got that comic book guy. And you know what? You can tell he's a comic book guy because he has got Clark Kent glasses on. He does. In fact, he's got the same goddamn physique as Clark Kent. If he'd like, he stripped down, the girls would faint, I bet. This guy is buff. But anyways, he doesn't want to hear shit like that.
So that's the second guy that you've hit on tonight, Bob. What the?
Hey, it's a half moon gay thing, isn't
Bob,
it?
am
You
I
know?
rubbing off on you, man?
know.
We've been doing this podcast for so long.
Yeah, quit
I
rubbing
know.
Bob.
Hey, look, okay. Let's face it.
No, rubbing
I'm-
off on him. That doesn't.
Oh, it's because I'm so furry. It's the texture, man. It's the texture.
All right. So
TMI.
All right. Well, I'll try to live up to that introduction. So, yeah, I am Bevan Thomas, freelance multimedia writer and editor.
Whoa.
I frequently participate in a podcast. It is The Panel. It is Cloudscape Comics, official comics podcast, run by my friend Ed Appleby. And he brings in various comic book artists and writers to talk about various comic book things. And
Cool.
I'm one of the frequent participants.
Excellent,
Nice.
man. Excellent. Well, you should have us come on. We could talk about stuff does
Totally
nothing to do with
unrelated.
podcasting. I've read comic books before. They're
Yeah, Bob,
fucking
don't
awesome,
bother.
man. Archie rules.
Are-
But
are-
that Veronica, what a bitch. She's like, get this guy off the show.
Veronica is a bitch, but seriously, are you a comic book writer or artist? And if this was covered in the past show, I'm sorry I wasn't here.
Myself, I am a writer. I write many things, including many comics. Cloudscape Comics, we publish an anthology every year, and I am a frequent participant.
Actually, that's a question I've got. You know, you look at comic books, and it's like, okay, you've got a writer, and then you've got the artist. Though that's a collaboration. Are there very many writer-artist combinations out there, or like Spiegelman, the thing about the what's the Art Spiegelman?
Yeah.
Was he did the writing and the comic
Yeah.
books at the same time? Is that kind of rare?
Well, with the independent artists, it's pretty common that the same person will write and draw it. Often with kind of the big companies like Marvel and DC and stuff, more often they'll be separate people. Though if it's a personal project, it's most often the same person doing the art and the writing. So not necessarily. Like when I first was part of Cloudscape, most people were just artist writers. They did the whole project themselves. But since I showed up over the last couple of years, there's been more collaborations.
So what about the drawing, but what about the coloring? Because I've got like a 2-year-old that can maybe do that.
Awesome with an iPad. Just have to give him a limited palette of Crayolas.
It's a good idea because even if she doesn't color in the lines, you can be like, it's abstract, it's art, man. It's a new way of a comic.
It's a he.
Yeah, and then when people go to the art show and say, my 2-year-old could do it, say, he was 1, so fuck you.
There's actually a documentary film about a kid that made a bunch of awesome paintings. It's called My Kid Could Draw That, or Paint That, I'm not sure.
Oh, there's
good
some-
movie, good movie.
There's
Well-
some also prolific stuff.
Well, there
like
actually is a popular comic right now in which it's drawn by an adult but written by a kid.
Axe Cop?
Yeah.
that. Oh, the bajoinga.
Nice.
Well done. All right, so that's enough cross-platform shit happening here. Let's talk to
Stuff
somebody
the rest
that's
of us.
that's grounded and
In the
dealing
numbers.
with
Somebody
reality.
that's right in the numbers.
Deals with Revenue Canada. I mean, you can't get more grounded than that.
I don't know how real that is, though.
Oh, he's muted.
I'm muted. Or something.
No,
Oh,
did,
yeah,
did
we-
you turn off your mic?
Oh, yeah.
I believe in you, Randall.
You can do it, man. It's a little switch there.
How's that?
Form
Ah, there we
17.
go.
Yeah, we didn't have to send him a form, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. So,
Randall,
sorry,
your
for
mic's
being-
on.
Hey, I
On the
work
upper part of
with
the mic,
numbers.
there's a device. All right.
Hi,
Go
everyone.
ahead.
Randall Orser at Number Crunchers.
Hey, dude.
Yeah, I work with numbers in the real world.
So,
So CRA, which is always fun.
if you did a podcast, what would you do?
What would I do? I don't know. Maybe we could do something about like CRA flops or something.
Yeah, you could do great embezzlers.
Yeah, great embezzlers.
You know, in history of embezzling.
Tax,
you know,
tax havens
and-
101.
and how I wouldn't have made that mistake.
Who was that guy that wrote the book, 10 Things Revenue Canada Doesn't Want You to Know?
Oh, I can't remember his name. Yeah.
But yeah, you could do a podcast like that.
Yeah.
Kind
Exactly.
of the same, in the spirit of that.
You might
book.
want to do it under,
Assume name.
No, I don't think so. I think you should blast his name all over
Try
the
and
place.
get a couple of maybe get the director of CRA to come on.
Exactly, and then ask him really
No,
embarrassing
you want
questions.
to
Yeah.
you want to get some ex-CRA employees.
Oh, they
to
are.
blow the whistle.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So how many times did you cheat when you were CRA? Oh, my God. Are you kidding? We did all the time. We had a pool.
How many times did you moonlight too?
Oh.
You're not allowed to moonlight.
Aren't you?
Not as CRA, no.
Well, you know, that's
Not
because
doing taxes and
Well, it's
stuff.
because of Canada and their pornography thing.
Something like that.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Sorry. I was thinking the wrong type of moon.
You're thinking customs, bringing all that bad porn that you do, right?
Oh, yeah. But it's on little thumb drive, so, how can they complain? You know?
It's a little thumb drive.
Is there-
that what you're saying?
Is there such
Well,
a
it's
thing
shaped
as,
like a penis.
Is it that enough to make them complain?
It's my
Just tell
penis drive
everybody,
here. It's got
Bob.
porn on it.
is there such a thing as bad porn insurance?
Oh, let's ask the insurance maven.
Yeah.
Can I get us some bad
That's
porn
like saying,
insurance?
is there insurance against bad taste? No.
Man.
There
I
should
know
be.
Lloyd's of London.
I didn't
They
even
do
think
lots
they're
of
gonna
tasteless
touch
stuff,
that.
don't they? No?
No.
Okay, fine.
Ridiculous, not tasteless. There's a
Ridiculous.
difference.
So, shall I do the saran wrap thing to piss you off?
Not if you don't want me to hit you later.
All right,
I don't get
I
it.
won't mention it then.
Yes. Anyway,
Saran wrap
Reynolds
thing?
wrap.
She Reynolds
have you-
wrap.
Reynolds
have you
wrap your
dropped that?
wrists and give you peace of mind.
You don't like that tagline anymore?
Saran wrap? Yeah. It's like you already
I've
blew
destroyed it. I've destroyed it for you. I know.
Bob's just stuck on this sex thing. I don't.
It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
okay, Bob, sex
I know
saran
this
wrap. Now I'm
insurance lady
scared.
said She wraps herself up. All right.
So-
and by the way, this is a
so-
show too for everybody listening.
So podcasts. This is the only podcast I participate in, but I do participate in 2 webcasts.
Oh.
One with Miss Forbes Maven here, Women Talking Tech, which we have a lot of fun doing, and we're getting some great guests on, and probably now we're going to
women,
be able to
though.
get some better guests.
Oh, wait.
So now I have to say
Yeah, they are so far.
that it's not too hard to turn a web show into a podcast.
Yeah, we'll maybe do that someday.
You might as well, because then you'd have another audience in iTunes and all the other.
That's true.
Yeah,
We'll have to do that. And I also have another one with the mortgage broker that we call To Finance and Protect.
you could
Yeah.
leverage your
Dun,
content.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, Margaret, it's very easy to do. I could teach you, and I don't know anything. You could learn that lickety split, legit.
Okay, Marcel, I'll have you over. You can teach
Lickety
me.
split.
He could. He's got the lickety
I'll buy wine.
The lickety split. Oh, never mind. I'm not going
Sold.
there.
I was not sold before the wine.
And we
All right.
got Bonnie.
I know how to make a really mean martini.
Oh yeah, she just
But you
throws
have
it
to
at
you have to show me how to do this all before I make the martini. I know you're a cheap drunk.
No, we couldn't do it if we did it after.
That would be great. I'd engineer that show big time.
Anyway, what was there? Was there anything else I was supposed to say?
No, you totally. Yeah,
I ruined.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
robbed.
well, you're already
Just
doing a
try.
show. You're doing.
I'm doing 2 shows. I'm part of this show. I co-hosted once when Bob didn't show up. So there.
Well, I was drunk. Was I? Or was I high?
He was, yeah.
I was
Now,
having
if that was the
HIV
case,
tests.
I'd be co-hosting more often.
Okay. Yeah,
That would never stop Bob.
yeah. I was having blood tests done. No DNA, something like that. I don't know. I'd lost an arm.
Anyway,
and I
so
was-
yeah,
Were
2
you on Maury?
webcasts soon to become podcasts, and we're going to become famous on iTunes because I'm just going to be riding on the coattails of Miss Famous Forbes.
You might as well.
Oh, okay. Speaking of famous inlets, fjords.
No, Forbes.
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 Forbes. Really?
Orbs.
Yeah.
It's that car company?
There's a bee.
Yes.
So she's the best communicator for Ford USA or Canada? Was it Ford?
At least he didn't mess
Is
up
there
your
new
tag.
truck?
Yeah, I wasn't the one that put those stupid women in the trunk of that Ford.
Oh.
Oh.
Man.
Although
That
some of
would've
those
been-
women belong in a trunk, but anyway.
Yeah, let's not even go there.
So Bonnie was listed in the top 20 women in social media.
Yeah, so now that
And
you're famous.
top in the
In
top
the
50
world.
in
And
the
top
world.
50 at
Overall.
number
50 in the
28.
world.
Number 28 and number 15.
Yep.
Just in
And
case you didn't
she
listen
was
to
also
Celebrity.
approached by Microsoft to be a kind of a brand ambassador. right?
A judge for their
Really?
Yeah.
for May and June.
Nice.
She's getting cool toys too.
I bet she does.
Gear.
Gear.
Yes, I'm
Gear
getting
toys.
gear.
What's the coolest toy they've given you so far?
They haven't given me
Surface?
anything yet.
Hasn't
No, I
arrived.
wish.
Oh, okay. Okay,
No,
if
I'm
you could
getting-
get any
Surface
toy, let me preface that. If you could get any company in the world to give you a toy, which toy would you like the most?
Is this a question you want to ask?
I know. I totally want
You
to.
want the
It's show
answer,
two.
Bob.
I totally
This
want
is a
the answer.
technology question.
Oh, no, it's not.
I think it's
It could be
a
a personal
Does it
question.
need batteries?
Oh, and that's all we
Everything
need. Starts with the D word. Yeah.
batteries. I can't make up my mind between a Galaxy Note 2 and one of the new Asus tablets.
Galaxy Note 2, go for it. It's so good.
Oh, look at that. So, there we go. That's a Google Google
Okay.
Plus
Well, that's
pointer.
Yeah, so I won't sell my soul for 3 years to a cell phone company. I have to pay sort of full retail or go out on Craigslist.
All right.
But I'm thinking Note 2 because
Or
of that.
suck up to Samsung and go, hey,
Well,
28,
there's
give me
a
a
Note
fucking
2
phone.
Samsung,
Yeah.
if you're listening.
yeah, this is who I am. Send me a review unit.
For those that would
All right,
like
that
to
I can
donate.
keep.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
just get
I'd be
review
happy with-
unit. Oh, you should talk about review unit insurance. There you go. Oh, I dropped it again. $1,500.
Gonna smack you.
yeah. Anyway, I think
All right.
it would be between those. There's lots of other toys, but those are probably.
And would you do a podcast about that?
Are you? If they
that yes or
are
no?
you
And
kidding?
shit
I
out of
would.
that one.
I would blog. I would.
All
Stand
sorts of
on top of a building for
But
that.
you wouldn't tweet, would you?
Of course, I would.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Just
such a
checking.
whore. I do.
Attiger sound. Here you heard it here first.
I've always
And
been.
if there was any doubt, listen to show 134.
Yes. Okay, so
We got the Canuck fan.
no, we've got the safety bag fan. Lung bag.
What is a safety bag?
Well, you're about to find out. I tell you, this
Will
guy.
it bag?
All right.
There would
so-
be thousands of dead Canadians without this guy. I tell you, thousands of them.
Well, it's by day I work in a factory.
That makes bags.
Yes.
Industrial strength.
Industrial filter bags.
Sexy industrial.
So they
filter
save
bags.
people by cleaning the air.
Yep.
And because WorkSafe BC says the companies have to.
Yeah, that's
filter
where I
the
work.
air.
Exactly. So, hey, so basically, you're suckling on the what is it? The government teat. Thank you very much.
No, our clients
I
are.
don't know what
Well,
But you heard it here first, folks.
but essentially, we make stuff people need. So yeah.
Excellent.
By day, that's what I do.
And the government forces them to need it.
Yes, very much so.
So basically, what you're saying is a conspiracy.
I'd stop short of that. Maybe some sort of like
Socialist.
cooperation. There's cooperation going on between
Cooperative.
different interested parties who have.
It's the filter bag industrial complex.
Oh, yes. Bajinga. All right, fine. All right, we'll go there.
Yeah.
So if you had a podcast, what would you do? Something to counter these accusations, maybe?
No,
Or-
God, no. I hate working with filter bags. It's
It's a family business.
Most a real one.
yeah, it's a family company.
Oh, good.
23 years.
so
yeah.
they can't
you
fire
are
him.
in trouble with Dad. That's all I can say. Son, I was listening to the Bunker Show the other day. That Bob's great, but you, oh my God.
Yeah. No. No. If I had to do a podcast, it'd be an outdoorsy related podcast.
Hiking or just
Well, I've done a lot of very recently done some really crazy outdoor stuff. Like 2 years ago, September 2011, I cycled from here to San Francisco basically on a whim by myself.
wow. That's
Yeah.
a type of bike, right?
Bicycle-
It's, a whim. It's really light. It's got some great components. About $1,500.
Yeah, it actually
whim.
was $1,500. It's got the I just had I just lived on my bike for 20 days basically.
Wow, awesome, man.
That was kind of random.
And
So it
you
took you
did-
20
did-
days.
Yeah.
You did the Oregon coast, right? Fine,
Yes.
fine. Oh, that's
From here
nice.
to
What
California.
time of year? September?
September.
Oh, so you have the storms and everything?
No, actually, I was
big
very
waves?
lucky. A couple of days, it looked like it might rain, but it actually I didn't encounter any full-on days of
Amazing waves. And that I would say a big shout out. Anybody that lives here on the West Coast, if you have not done that trip in an open car, on a bike, or
Yeah.
on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
you have not lived.
I will say, skip Washington. Washington, if you're doing by bike.
It's kind of hard to skip Washington.
Yeah. I mean, like, skip the scenic part of Washington. Just drive through it or train past it. And start in Oregon if you're cycling. Because Washington is lonely and mountainous.
Yeah, you
State
can take
park-
a train through it.
Yeah. A lot of people trained to Portland and just started from there.
Much
so.
better
yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
Very nice. And much easier
Seaside.
on the left.
Seaside
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah. And,
It is.
Seaside, yeah.
and last year I did the West Coast Trail by myself. That was fun.
Whoa, by yourself? That's
Yeah.
how many, 6 days?
7 days.
Wow. by
So
yourself.
Bob's got a blog or a website called speedhikers.com.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
they do, him and his friend, they do hikes
Oh.
really fast.
Oh, yeah, we
speed?
hike all the time.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And snowshoe, too.
Okay, yeah, I
Big
see you
time.
too. But here's the thing with me: I'm not a light hiker. I'm not a minimalist hiker.
Yeah, you don't
Like-
talk when you hike, do you?
No, I like being with people, but I like bringing my gear outdoors. Like I bought this camera specifically because it was weather sealed. The camera I brought with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's the photo guy that used to hang out here?
The
JP?
giant camera maven.
Yeah,
just
well,
named him
Jason.
today.
Jason guy
Jason
from Cal,
Kirby,
very
yeah.
cool guy. We'll connect you to.
Oh, cool.
He's an awesome guy. He has
Yeah.
these big bulky cameras. He'd be so jealous of your camera
Yeah.
because it's blue.
But no, it'd be about like just bringing gear in the outdoors, and like there's some people out there who are like, don't bring your technology out there, or you're ruining the environment.
Oh,
whatever.
you
Blah, blah.
kidding? I
No,
bring
yeah.
my-
Like if I want to watch a movie in the middle of the forest, I'm gonna watch a movie. Like, you're not stopping me, Like
Well, I mean, that's why I have a huge backpack. He's like, how many days you been out? He's like, I'm not on a 6-hour hike, man. I got my wine, I got my bong, I got my phone, I got my satellite uplink, my battery pack,
yeah, exactly. So
You need that
All the
shit.
survival gear.
yeah, it'd be
oh, lots of
that's
toys.
Bob's survival
You never know
gear.
who you're going to run
So
into.
do you have a solar charging backpack?
No, I just have a solar thing that I can bring out,
Yeah.
which is funny because the feature of it is like you can use a pencil to prop it up. So I bring a pencil as well on my back, which has come in handy when writing notes when I was, anyways.
Pens don't work.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Pens aren't
Or
cool.
biros.
Oh, a color biro to bring it all around. Whoa, this is such a secular show.
Thank you.
All right, is that the wrong word? Was I using secular?
Well,
No.
it is
Circular. Secular.
Circular,
That's
not
something to do
secular.
with
Should
some.
we keep going on the
offshoot?
round table?
Yeah, it's a round table.
Sure.
We don't have a
Let's
round
make
table.
this show political. All right, dude.
Okay, hey, I'm
Comment, baby. Comment.
Yeah, I'm JJ McCullough, so I'm a columnist with the Huffington Post Canada. I'm also a political cartoonist with my own site, and there was a time actually when I was doing a podcast on politics. I had one of my old American friends in Missouri, and him and I would do a podcast every week, and we would talk about half of it would be about Canadian things, and half of it would be about American things.
I like
He
how
was a-
you definitely say a boot.
A boot.
Like a
Yeah.
Canadian.
Out
And,
in a boot.
Missouri.
In
I'm a good Canadian, unlike you guys.
Is that
you sellouts with your about and let's go around.
that's like that's
Wait a
East
minute,
Coast
wait a minute.
Canada.
Obviously,
That's
you're
so-
not a true West Coast.
So what is
I don't know
how
what
else do you
hairstyle
say
like that
around?
you'd have to be.
Well, a ruined, right? Like
A ruined? Are you kidding
No,
me?
Well,
And tomato and
I didn't know that was
tomato.
Canadian.
well, like when you say like, let's not go that way. Let's take the shorter
Root.
route, right? Route is the same way. Americans
Route.
say route, right?
Who says
Yeah.
route?
Route.
Well,
anyway.
if you're a carpenter, I was routing a lot today. You know.
Wrong, Bobby would say I was using the router.
Totally different.
I routed her big time.
Hey, let's not get rowdy.
But but anyway, like it was a fun podcast. I had a lot of fun doing it because my co-host Jake, like he was sort of a rare American in that he was as well versed in Canadian politics as I'm versed in American politics. So we could
cool.
kind of have this cool kind of continental banter, which is really quite rare. I mean, like there's a lot of podcasts about American politics. There's not very many podcasts
So,
about Canadian politics.
Were you both conservatives, or did you have the liberal? versus
He's
conservative?
definitely more liberal than I am. Yes.
Okay,
But
so you had that aspect going.
we had
too.
that aspect
So he had
too.
guns, right?
Of course, yeah. It always just came to the Second Amendment. Yeah, no,
So
but
I'm going to shoot my gun now. Kaboom!
I have a possibly dumb question. You're Canadian, right?
I am, yes.
Okay, and you cover American politics, and your podcasty partner covers Canadian?
No. It was just kind of like the basic, like on my site, like and in my writing, I do Canadian and American stuff. Filibustercartoons.com. And
Well,
and so
by the way, that was his agent.
yes, I brought my agent with me. No, but like so on the podcast, basically, like we would each bring two stories. So there'd be two American stories and two Canadian stories, and then we would sort of engage with them. And sort of like the conceit of the thing would be sort of like, hey Jake, what's going on in America? And he'd be like, well, JJ, you know, blah blah blah, what's going on in Canada? And then we were both well versed in enough in each other's, you know.
So it was a
sort of-
comedy show.
the comedy was incidental, but no, it was a really
Kind
fun.
of like our show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was a lot of fun, and I thought that was a really good conceit because my readership of my website, even though I do a lot of cartoons and a lot of essays about Canadian politics, my readership is mostly Americans who just are interested in Canada, and such people do exist, and there are lots of American people that are just interested in learning more about the politics of other countries, and that was sort of my audience, and so our podcast was very much geared towards that kind of
So
scene.
my question is: so why is it a past tense? Podcast?
Well, it's kind of personal. Jake had some stuff and couldn't continue doing it, and you know he was a real sort of rare talent, and I haven't really found a person, and I've tried because I really want it to be like a joint Canadian-U.S. kind of thing.
the Can-Am politics.
Yeah.
Why don't you do a shout out?
I
Because
should.
we have a lot of American listeners.
I do, and
At least
I've thought
4.
about doing it now, but what's say?
What?
Oh, I said at least 4. It was just
Yeah, at least. No, it's I don't know. It's like honestly, when I did it too, I wasn't doing as much stuff as I'm doing now. Now I'm doing TV commentary a lot as well, and I feel like that sort of satisfies my need to loudly say things about politics.
Just a slash and burn,
It's
basically.
kind of
right?
an ironic twist that the Canadian on there was more right wing and the American
Yeah.
more left wing.
No,
Totally.
that's fun as well. Like I'm very big into sort of getting beyond these kind of cliched stereotypes about what an American is supposed to be like and what a Canadian is supposed to be like.
Oh, I get a big question.
Yeah.
As he says, a boot.
Exactly. So this is kind of a bias from one of my other shows, but based on your attitude in debating stuff like that, what do you think's a good show for Canadians to watch, as far to learn about Americans? Because we have no American TV up here, so
Yeah, I know. It can be a real challenge to get exposed to American content.
If we
in
were
this
going to
country.
pirate a show, download it from some
Well, if we're talking about podcasts, I'm really very fond of the NPR It's All Politics podcast. That's a really brilliant, really well done podcast. Those guys, like, it's just so tight and so well done, and they're not really overtly partisan at all. Like, they just really engage with the stories in a very sort of neutral, very fun. They have a kind of like old timey like vaudeville where they're doing lots of corny puns and this kind of stuff.
They'd be perfect for this show.
Absolutely. I really love my other big favorite is the Slate Political Gab Fest. That's a fantastic podcast as well. Really well done, really tightly edited. They have 3 topics every day. They've got a woman who's just a brilliant legal mind, so she always brings this great sort of legal perspective. They've got a guy who's a big time, Beltway reporter, and then they got the editor of Slate, who's just kind of this irreverent sort of host. It's a fantastic podcast. If you want to learn more about American politics, those two are a good place to start.
So what's the Canadian version?
There isn't really a good
CBC,
Canadian podcast.
maybe?
No, God, no.
No!
So there's a hole in the market. You should fill that hole.
Well, I'd like to. I mean, and I feel like this is definitely a project that I sort of have aspirations of doing.
So let's do the Bunko political panel. That would be awesome.
That would be hot.
We're
mess.
drinking beer. Everybody can talk about their beer and politics. It'd be awesome. And their hockey teams.
So as a Canadian political commentator that comments on both Canada and the U.S., in the U.S., it's big issue with gun control right now. Where do you stand on that?
Well, this is obviously a rather sensitive issue considering, sort of what's happened recently. I very much believe that if you're going to have gun control, it has to be factually based. You have to have a sense that what we are bringing, the kind of legislation that we're bringing for, has a proven track record of success in lowering the kinds of, deaths and problems that we're trying to address. I don't believe in passing legislation just because it gives us the warm fuzzies or just because, it satisfies some emotional
But also
need.
now with 3D printers, you can just print a gun, right?
Well, absolutely, right? These are complicated issues. My point is just that, like, there's often, when tragedy strikes, there's always an emotional response and a desire to, like, well, we have to get something passed. We just have to, pass gun control.
Ridiculous.
It's very reactionary, right? And I think, in my experience from the data that I've looked at, some of these gun control laws do not actually have the demonstrable sort of result that they're supposed to. They're laws that are passed for, basically for political, ideological reasons, not because they have a track record of success.
Well, I class those as fear laws. The populace becomes fearful, they become ignorant, and say, just fix it, goddammit, so I can relax. And then a bunch of BS gets passed into law.
Well, I don't think it would reduce the amount of guns that, well, it probably would, but not to the degree that they're talking about, reduce the amount of guns that criminals have, because they'll always be able to get guns.
Yeah.
But kids that accidentally shoot themselves because the gun is there, I mean, that's going to be reduced for sure if there's less guns available. If they're not just there.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here.
Atta girl,
Just
buddy. Atta girl.
ignorance. First of all, criminals, they'll shoot you because they want what you've got, or they shoot each other. The kind of people that are, going into schools and killing kids, and those aren't criminals. They're nuts. And the people who defend, and I'm going to say a real generalization. I know I am.
Yeah.
The people who defend, I can have 25 guns if I feel like it, are the people that have a point of view that allows these fringe element people, that gives them permission to go out and shoot all those people because they're defending that point of view.
Yeah, but it's a different culture up here than down there.
Oh, no, absolutely. And as a Canadian...
Well, we've got to defend ourselves from
like in
mooses.
Texas,
There's a big
if
moose
someone
problem
steps on your
here.
property, you have the right to shoot them.
Come on in, dude.
Oh, I don't have any trouble. No, I do have a trouble shooting mooses, but... But, I mean, I feel strongly about this. I mean, it may be ignorant, but nevertheless, I do. I think somebody thinks it's okay to shoot people.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they wouldn't go and do it if they didn't think it was okay, that it was
But
their right.
what about shooting people that are do really stupid things on social media?
Oh shit! Are you kidding? Get
Bonnie
me
the
a gun.
I think
Get me the biggest bazooka.
Can I ask one more hot button political question, which might be slightly better than the Bunker Project trying to take on gun control?
What is it?
No.
All right, so I asked this to the last guy who had political leanings, who I talked to on a podcast, and I have to ask just because I have to, and I'll die if I don't, and I'm so sorry. But dude, you write for politics and stuff, about politics, that is. What is your stance on, if I were to go, get gay married, what's your stance on that? Is that cool, not cool?
Well, I happen to be a gay myself, so I'm generally in favor of that.
Just making sure.
A gay right-wing conservative.
Yeah, who's also from Canada, so yeah. I'm
See, what would be amazing is if you were like, I'm gay, but I'm conservative, so I don't really support it. That would be amazing.
No, I mean, well, I did have sort of complicated views on it, because, I think that when you're a gay conservative, you tend to be a sort of, contrarian sort of person, right? And so I feel like there was a time in which I may have been, more ambivalent about gay marriage than I am now, but I definitely feel like now there just is no case against it. I'm very big into the idea that people in general should get married, and I think it's important for heterosexuals to get married too. And I believe that a child should grow up in in a family where there's two parents, if at all possible. But at the same time, I totally understand that two guys should get married, two women should get married. I mean, the family structure is very important, and so I've come to now understand that gay marriage is very much a part of a sort of larger pro-family, conservative, sort of bourgeois values agenda that I support overall. And I think that when conservatives make this argument that two guys getting married in a monogamous sort of committed relationship, that this is somehow subverting the family unit, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay, so that was totally the opposite answer I thought I was going to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of, the big problem of partisanship is that, left and right, they often, it's about numerous, I guess, policies or beliefs being connected together that really don't have anything in common with each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, I predict within 20 years, this will... Actually, there was a good line that sort of said, within 10 years, conservatives will, support gay marriage. Within 20 years, conservatives will claim to have thought it up, right? This is just the way the winds are blowing on this issue. So, I mean, it's really not worth debating, I feel, in any great detail.
And as a completely relevant follow-up question, when you're on the TV, do you say a boot?
Well, I mean, this is how I talk, right?
No, I have to make sure.
All right,
Just
so
for bunker.
we've got a couple more people on the Hangout. So we're going to continue the round table because we're only 30 minutes into the show on our 5-minute round table. So Ken, let's get Ken, what's up?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'll be brief.
Oh my God.
No, yeah, Ken McGrath. At Ken AMCG on Twitter. And I do a podcast called iCamcast, which is a podcast about a boot.
A boot? Out in a boot?
It's about how broadcasting and the internet are kind of getting fused together, and they're getting so close. I mean, all of the digital is now totally integrated into television, and it doesn't take much for all of that to just appear on the internet.
Well, didn't you do a podcast the other day about unplugging from the what the hell did you call it?
Cutting the cord.
Yeah, cutting the cord.
From cable. Although TV's kind of going through a bit of a rough patch because of the internet. Well, so everybody thinks. But TV still holds almost 70% of the advertising as compared to cable, or more than 70% of the advertising compared to the internet. So they're really not in jeopardy. I guess it's just because
do you think that's going to change,
advertisers are comfortable with TV and they don't know a damn thing about internet advertising.
Yeah, but
that should start to change. But now that something called DTV is around,
that's what I talked about with Ken on his last podcast.
That'll be out soon.
Yeah, so that's
D for devastation.
Digital television. I mean, you'll be able to watch live TV on your phone
without using your data plan.
Arrow just got upheld. CBS, NBC, and the other one, ABC, tried to take someone to court for rebroadcasting their signals,
and they lost.
and they lost.
Yeah,
The big
ouch.
ones lost
Because it was
I'm
like a BitTorrent
honestly
story.
reassured by that.
Yeah, well,
That-
it's very interesting. I mean, the things that are going on now is people. Every day I'm chatting with people. It's like, what's your setup, Bob? And I say, well, I don't have a cable. I just have as big a bandwidth as possible. I'll pay $70, $80, $90, $110 for ridiculous bandwidth because everything I do is through the internet, and the other 3 people in my household are on the net all the time, and I have to have massive bandwidth. So yeah, I'd rather spend the money on the bandwidth than on a bunch of crappy cable stuff that really gives me zero entertainment.
I mean, you these days you can get base cable and if you're connected, you can get everything else.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't even need base cable.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Really, you don't.
True. Well, I find it
they
a little difficult to get local news.
Well, that's what
if you
CBC
don't
radio
have-
is for. It's
if
like
you
it
don't
wakes
have
me up at
base
7 in the
cable.
morning. I get the 7 to 7:10. I'm done for the day. Oh yeah, that's what they were talking about yesterday. Bye.
So
And then,
there's no BitTorrents for local news?
Oh, there are. Well, you don't have to have BitTorrents. You
There
just
you.
go to CBC and download. All their shows are streamed, man. So you can download whatever you want. And there is, I must say, CBC has killer content. I mean, they got some of the best interviewers around. It's amazing. But
They do.
hey, that's a corporate sponsored machine that creates great content, and I think that's a dying breed. I think you can have these independents and guys like Gian Jamesi and whatever. You'll in 10 years or
George.
15 years and George and 20 years, those guys were guys that come up through the ranks through the internet and nothing to do with the corporate structure. Sad
That's right.
but true.
Gian Gomeshi is a great example of that. He's just a wonderful interviewer.
Yeah, but
and
he does.
George is right there too.
Yeah, but you look what he's doing at CBC. He's got like 4 high def cameras. He's doing that. Is basically what we do.
Yes.
And he's blasting stuff out. He's on the internet. He's tweeting. And, he gets it.
Yeah, but you get everything in a podcast off CBC.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. Anyways,
So, Ken,
Yes.
do you know a thing or two about TV? You sort of sound like maybe you're
oh,
an
he knows it
expert.
all.
Well, yeah, but I've been doing it for a couple of years, 36 or so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you were telling me about how everybody's automated, and CTV is the only one that hasn't automated. And
That's right. Well, yeah, CTV and City as well, but Global and CBC, of course.
Yeah.
They're both, their news programs are totally automated.
Yeah.
There's a crew of 3 doing the show
Compared to how many people?
compared to 12 to 15.
All right.
normally.
So completely automated. Like I've been in those studios. It's weird. You got
Yeah.
like the newscasters, and there's nobody in the studio, and there's these cameras, and they're moving. These cameras are moving around. You
Yeah.
go into
And
the audio room,
software.
and the audio patch board is moving automatically. It's like ghosts. It's weird.
But the funniest thing is that the studio is nothing but a green screen, but when the cameras move, the background is a wall. It becomes a wall, and it moves the way it should, as if it were a wall. So the software that they're using is unbelievable, and it controls everything from lighting to audio to you name it.
Yeah.
You can control it all from one position.
Yeah. Well,
you preset it, and there it goes.
Well, the whole thing is like classic news TV is formulaic. You do this, you hit your numbers, and then in the old days, I mean, you have a bunch of 15, 20, 30 people sweating out. It's like boom, hit your marks, boom, boom, boom. And if you have something that's that automated, it's very easy to program.
It is.
It's just as humans
even
doing.
As I remember,
As long as the humans behave.
Well, that's why they got rid of
But
it.
I remember the film days as well, where we had film running and what they were called 2 audio tracks running on each film. They were called Magnitex, and you had to actually mix the film story live to the show.
Wow.
So it was a lot more complicated back then, and everything just gotten a lot simpler.
Yep. All right. So we have one more guest here on. She's been very patient. Denise.
Hello,
Tell us-
everybody. How
Tell
are
us-
you?
I'm good. And tell us a little about yourself.
Oh, well, I am a business blogger, and I have a travel agent business. I set people up with home businesses with Pro Travel, And I also lend my voice to anyone who needs business audio or some kind of voice work done. But I've never done a podcast.
So if you had a podcast, what would you talk about?
I would do something that I think would be really fun. I've been sitting here thinking about it while you guys were talking.
Or blabbing is probably. I wouldn't call that talking.
That's
Very
okay.
polite.
We don't pay attention either.
I think it would be really fun to interview people from different cultures and compare different points of view on social etiquette and cultural norms. And hopefully that would involve traveling around a little bit too. I think it could be actually quite fun.
A live podcast is actually something that I don't know if it's being done. To go to a location and actually record an interview and turn that into a podcast. I'm not. Andrew, how often you listen to a lot of podcasts?
Yeah.
Do a lot of people do that, or is most of it studio based so far?
It's a combination of both. Some people do studio based, and then when they're, say, at like Blog World or Community Expo, they'll bring their digital recorder and they'll record a interview just on the fly, and then you'll get all the background kind of ambiance in the show as well, which is a good thing. Background noise in a studio environment is a bad thing, but in a when you're out and about and you're in a physical location that you're supposed to be in, it's actually
it just seems natural.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have the rumble.
Then people know you're actually you're
in the location.
Yeah. It adds.
And I think the people you're interviewing and talking to would feel really comfortable.
Yeah, so you could do a combination of both. You could do your intro in your studio setting, and then say, and now I'm going to go live to.
Yeah,
Expo,
do a combination of things. Maybe sometimes bring people in and go out. But just getting different perspectives and seeing how people do things differently in different cultures. I mean, I think it could lend itself to other things too. Obviously, more visual things, but I think it'd be fun.
Cool. All right, that wraps up a roundtable. Except we got two new guests. Two new guests.
3 new guests. You guys.
3.
Oh, we've got somebody behind the pole here. All right.
Can I just say thanks a lot and nice to meet you guys, but I actually do have another commitment that I have to get to.
Sure, we'll come back again.
Thanks for the invite, Bob. Thanks for the invite. Nice to meet you guys, Ken and everybody.
Come back.
Bye. Okay.
All right, so we got the guy behind the pole here.
The Polish guy.
Put James on.
No, go ahead. Go. Talk.
Hello.
So if you had a podcast, what's your name and your Twitter handle if you want to give that out, and what if you had a podcast, what would it be?
I can't hear.
My name is Matt.
I can't hear.
And
On the mic.
could you repeat the question again?
If you had a podcast, what would you do a show on? Like a web show or a podcast, what would it be about?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about it.
So what do you really get excited about when you talk about something? Like what's your passion? What's your hobby that you
I do like to talk about politics sometimes.
Wow, this is the politics show. Wow.
Oh, awesome.
So you would do a show on politics.
Are you American?
Actually, no, I'm not.
What do you think of?
Okay, well, then that won't work for.
What do you think of Mr. Trudeau? Are you for him or against him?
Go Trudeau!
I'm not for him or against him, but he's probably going to do well because of who his father was. So
You're not for him or against him. You're not going to do well in political commentary.
You got to take a stand.
Hey, any guy that'll fight a writer about what he says about him in a boxing ring for charity gets my vote.
Wait, are you saying Uwe Boll would get your vote because he challenged all the critics and said his movies are garbage?
I think that's ballsy
to
as
boxing
fuck.
matches?
Ballsy.
Although, to be fair, Uwe Boll would get my vote because the world would not be the same without him. But never mind. Shut up, James.
All right, so we got James Karg in the house. He's the gaming maven.
What's up? Yeah.
So if you were going to do a podcast, what would it be about? I know it's going to be about games.
No, actually, I don't think it would be about games.
Startups.
It would be about My Little Pony and rainbows and
unicorns.
You're such a liar.
Yeah, no, I'd probably do a podcast about drinking black beer and social media and tech.
That's bunker.
Shit. That's right.
So how about, why don't you do a webcast about, I don't know, doing dishes?
Oh, yeah, that was one of my first shows I actually did was I did one about doing dishes.
But
Google Plus. Yeah.
How about one maybe about being a puppet?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Bonnie's
the
right.
best
So
one.
yeah, that was actually my most popular one. Was when I was using Cookie Monster to go terrorize people on airtime. Yeah, that would have been a good one for Cookie Monster. What do you think of Trudeau? Yeah. These cookies are good, Trudeau. He gets my vote. You know, Cookie Monster is actually French. Yes. But yeah, I think that would be my podcast.
Okay, I'm pretty impressed. Cookie Monster with a French accent.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, Cookie Monster is in all languages.
Kind of sound like
Great.
Eric, though.
Yeah, well, hello. This is Eric Steinberg from Not Wix. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'd probably do something about games, I'd probably just be an asshole.
And you do that well.
Yeah, that would just be the podcast. It'd be like,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about whatever that I find interesting. So.
I'm going to do a rant now.
Yeah, rant.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got another guest here today.
Yeah.
Hi,
And your name and Twitter, if you have one. And
my name is Elena Saburova, Sabourova.
oh wow,
Thanks.
and on Twitter.
And I'm on Twitter, Elena Saburova.
Nice. And if you were to do a podcast, what would the topic be?
I think I would do a podcast on spoken word.
Oh, okay.
Specifically
so,
spelling?
like telling stories.
No, like spoken word poetry.
Oh, okay,
like slam
cool.
poetry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cool. I think it's a beautiful medium, and I think it would translate super well into podcasting.
Actually, it probably
All right.
would.
All right, can you please slam poetry me? Please do it. I've earned it. Come on.
I will have to hold off on that, but maybe later.
Slam 'em later.
And you call yourself a slam poet.
I am not a slam poet. I'll admit that right now.
Okay, so that does it. That does the roundtable, and it only took 46 minutes.
Holy cow, that's a record, isn't it?
I think it is a record.
What was it last week? 45 minutes?
30 minutes. But let's quickly sum up in a nutshell how Bonnie got so good at social media. Let's talk about building online influence.
Yeah,
for a
Bonnie,
bit.
how did you do that? Did you cheat?
Yeah.
Did you use drugs? Was it something to do with something you bought off the internet?
None of that stuff.
There were no unicorns
There
involved.
were no unicorns.
Rainbows. I
No
knew it. It was the
kumbaya.
double rainbows.
I don't talk about
What
hot
does it mean?
yoga. I don't talk about walking my dog.
I didn't see
who
all
I
these.
had to-
I didn't see all these open-ended questions either coming from you.
No.
If you could only see her pained face.
That makes
Oh,
my
let me take a
brain
picture.
hurt. I'm a business blogger. I'm in business for myself. No, I'm in business for my customers. I solve problems. You don't want me to ask questions all the time. You want me to have answers.
Very good.
I see these people, and truly, it's from like 5 years ago in internet marketing. Are you finally get on the clue train? Don't ask stupid questions. Is the sky blue?
What
your
would you
favorite-
do if, and how would that make you feel?
Hang on, that sounds just like our show.
I know. Would you hire somebody who just asked you questions? You hire somebody because they're going to solve a problem. Get off your high horse, Bonnie.
Oh, or that will listen.
Yes.
That's what I mean. When you get down the essence of it, and you listen, read it again and again, and nobody ever gets it. It's all about listening. You listen, you listen, you listen, and then you know what? You listen some more, and then you listen, and 15 months goes by, and you're still listening, and then after you've done all
You
that,
solve the problem.
when you speak, you actually know what the fuck you're talking about, right?
Well, there is that.
Oh yeah. Okay, so knowing your stuff, solving problems. You mentioned last week that it's important to have big numbers too. So how do you get the big numbers?
Basically, you start. I give you this tip. You follow a thought leader follows because they've put a filter on it for you. So you find a niche, whatever it's going to be, a wine importer, whatever it is, and you look and see who they're following, and then you go out and you follow people. You put out good content. If you're following Jane Smith, and she's a wine importer, then I would retweet the thought leader that you're you're
That
harvesting.
You're harvesting from their followers.
And that's the same as saying, I know Jane Smith. I met her at the whatever.
Okay, so when it comes down to Bonnie, you're saying size matters.
Size always matters. But it does this time.
Oh, it's a myth. Come on.
I think Marcel would agree with you on that too.
I would agree.
Marcel, would you agree that size also matters as well?
Absolutely. Ken, why would you say that's a myth? Like, what say do you have in this? Legit.
Absolutely none.
I think with Bonnie being, number 28 in, Forbes
In
top
the world.
50 social media power influencers.
Let's not bring numbers
her
into
words.
the game.
Yeah.
No, that's just a matter of numbers. So the other thing that has set me apart is I measure everything. I was a system engineer in another life. You measure everything.
Easy, Marcel.
You want to know how many retweets you got if you're on Twitter, how many people are clicking through. I measure everything.
Okay, Bonnie.
I document everything.
We get the measuring. What do you measure with?
The easiest thing is buffer.
Piece of sellotape.
No.
Okay.
The easiest thing is buffer, and I schedule everything.
Really? You can measure with buffer?
You can.
How do you do that, Bonnie?
You click on the analytics tab.
They have an analytics tab?
They do. I know.
Tell me about this amazing buffer. Who will be our sponsor soon? Just kidding.
So
buffer is pretty cool.
For those of you
I
that
can just see it. The Bunker Project, brought to you by Chrome and their buffer and their app Buffer.
We could call it the Buffer Project.
Buffer actually is pretty cool, but I have a question. It's the easiest one to use, right?
It is.
Oh, I kid you're an idiot. You can use it, and that's why I use it.
They got bought by Chrome?
No,
It's a Chrome. It's a Chrome extension.
You could, yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah, there
work-
is a Chrome extension,
it
but it's
works
not, they're not
on
owned by Chrome.
Firefox.
Why not get two sponsors? Hello.
Okay, so my question is, for the Buffer stats.
Yes.
I tied my Bitly account to
Yes, I did
Buffer,
too.
But I'm getting different stats from Buffly, my
For
Buffly
Bitly,
link.
yeah.
And they're different on Bitly, so I'm wondering what the difference is, and there's a significant difference. Like when I tweeted about your top 20, I got a ton of clicks I got 2,600 clicks on my Buffly.
Yeah.
In my Buffer stats, I had like 2,600 clicks, but in my Bitly, I had like more than that. But then I saw that it said global feed.
Yeah,
so then I noticed like in mine it was drastically less than that. So I'm wondering what is going on there.
I don't know, and I don't care. And the reason, just a minute. The reason that I don't care is it's relative.
Okay.
So did I get more yesterday than I did today? Did I have So I don't care about the numbers. I just care, is it, am I moving up? Did I get a big drop? I got zero people who linked through.
That's
a good point.
I'm going to jump in here. That's a very, very good point. All our newbie listeners and stuff like that, the people that getting into all the social media stuff, it's kind of like losing weight. If you go, I'm 68 kilos today, and then you go, I'm 60.2 kilos like 45 minutes later, and then if you're measuring too much, or it's like, how many followers do I have? I have 14 followers. Now I've got 17 followers. Now I've got 16 followers. Now I got 15 followers. And like in a day, that's ridiculous. You got to look at the long span. So Bonnie, what is it? 6 months, 8 months, a year?
To
monitor, starting to get accurate demographics.
Oh no, you should. I've been doing it for a while. No, I think probably in 2 to 3 weeks you should have some idea.
So you should be tweaking every 2 to 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
And don't tweak.
I don't think that's good advice.
What?
To tweak every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm just saying.
You think it should be every few hours?
Should be tweaking all the time.
No, that's even worse.
No, and only change one thing at a time.
Yes, brilliant.
Especially if you're a newbie, because if you change 5 things and suddenly it goes through the roof.
Or the opposite.
Yes. That's cool. Then you can sort of live with the fact that now you got, 300,000 people or whatever. But if it starts going down, then you don't know what truly affected it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
have no
the
control.
only part of being a good programmer that I know.
Well, I think the whole thing about it that a lot of people don't get about social media and the communities and stuff like that. Yes, if you listen, blah, blah, blah. but it's all about the analytics, looking what's happening, see where you're spiking, and then analyzing. What did I talk about that day? Like I've got the, I do my business book podcast, and I had this massive spike, ridiculous. It went right through my ceiling. It totally screwed up my graphs. Actually.
Yeah, you should rebrand. You should call it that. The Business Book Bobcast.
Yeah, Bobcast. Thank you. But really, it's. I look at it, and then I called the guy and said, well, what did you do? And he said, I just let everybody, and he's got 350,000 people on Twitter.
Yep.
It's like, that's why. So at least I know what was happening. So now I do a shout out every show after the show. It's like, hey, please put this on your Twitter, because you never know.
Yeah. I keep, I have an Excel spreadsheet with, mostly with my buffer stats, because now I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on, and I do the same thing. I go back and find out what I'm doing right and do more of it.
So are you doing that manually, or can you automate it?
I haven't figured out a way to.
No, I had to export it. So you actually crunching numbers.
I'm pretty good at cutting and pasting, and I do it while I have 3 computers. So I can cut and paste and do 2 other things at the same time.
Exactly. Okay.
Usually I'm watching some kind of movie or something on another.
I was going to say pornography, but that was just so easy.
No, she goes down to Washington for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please. All right. So we finished the round table, so we can start the show.
This is the show.
We already started.
All right, so I think
48 minutes into the show.
Is there any other like hot tips on how to build influence online that you want to close off before we move on?
Don't buy followers.
Don't buy followers.
Oh,
Don't buy followers,
because they're just cheap.
Now, define buying followers. Do you mean?
Well, usually you're buying robots when you do that, right?
Okay, can you reward followers? Say, hey, I've got an iMac. You follow me, I'll give you an iMac. Is that the same thing or different?
Yeah, I don't like
the cost of acquisition.
You want authentic followers who actually want to follow you, not people that are following you because you bribed them or paid them or.
What about safety bags? That could save your lungs and
there's
die,
that. Yeah, I'll be giving those
I don't
away
think they're going to be
pretty
very interactive followers.
Yeah.
They kind of just lay there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I read Cement Weekly. It could be a good one. Hey, here we are, Cement Weekly. Ma, how's your granite doing?
Who wants a follower that just lays there?
Okay, so
we got
one
2
way,
dead followers tonight.
A really good way to engage your community is you retweet anybody who retweets you. So if they retweet you, I've got a list at the end of the day. I go, I know it is so simple. Come on. I go in there. You know what? I bet you 40% are not retweetable. All they're doing is retweeting someone else.
I found that. I'm thinking, hey, they've retweeted me a few times. I'm going to go in and retweet them. And it's like, I can't find anything, an actual post of theirs to retweet.
Stop making fun of me.
No, that's
so you kind of follow the or very similar to Guy Kiyosaki's philosophy, right?
Guy Kawasaki, yeah.
Because he says that all these social media consultants that are saying, you got to ask questions. You don't want to put too many links out there. And he says, no, I put a link out in every single post.
Me too. How are you gonna measure?
Oh, I'm a link nut. But then I'm always blasting. I don't. I'm the worst Twitter.
But also, too, okay, what do you get across in 140 characters? Okay, an idea, but with 100 characters and a link to an awesome article, not always yours, but just good content that you're
curation.
That is something worth clicking on.
Okay, but come on. I live in Kitsilano, and I think everybody in the whole world is really interested when I take a hot yoga class.
Oh, in Kitsilano? Are you kidding? Have you been to those classes? Oh my God!
I just came back
from buns to die for.
Hot
Holy
yoga
crap.
class.
Oh, the women.
And taking pictures.
If you're gay,
of my food,
will blow your mind. That's a woman's ass. Oh my God! I tell you. I tell you.
All right, so
that
now
is the cross-platform.
So I think probably we might have time left for James.
Yeah, now.
But only 2 minutes.
Theme song.
Yeah. With James.
I killed him. Yeah.
All right, so Gaming with James.
Oh yeah, give him
Oh yeah, I got a mic.
Hey, we
Thank
actually
God.
had caller feedback for Gaming with James.
No.
Yeah, let's see
Get
who's
rid of that bum.
who is this?
Who could
Let's
it
see
be?
Let's see who it is.
Who could it be
Question
now?
mark.
This is a question for James. My cousin was one of the art directors or something on a game called Thief. Just wondering what you think about that. And also, I heard about a couple of other games that were kind of cool, BioShock or something like that, and Journey. Let me know what you think of those games. Anyways, talk to you later, Maven. Bye.
Bye, Norm.
Bye, Norm.
So, Thief. A game.
Oh, Thief. Yeah, Thief was a great game. It was one of the better stealth genre games to ever come out. So
Cool.
It was. What does stealth mean? This is
Like a
this is
stealth
why we can't have
bomber?
nice things.
The microphone.
Hey, Bob. Bob, you got to move over over there to the political guy.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, Thief was a pretty good game. It's an older game, but it was really focused on stealth elements, and it was quite positive.
So his friend, his
his cousin
was the art director there.
was an art director. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It was very moody, so he probably had a big hand in doing that because he's the art director. As far as BioShock goes, it's been getting so many good reviews and is amazing. So why wouldn't you like that game? And Journey is one of the only games you can play that has absolutely no talking in it. So Journey is amazing because it's a landscape that you're exploring, and when you want to talk to other people,
They
you
don't talk
actually
back?
no, it's not even talking. It's signals, so it's a sound.
Texting.
Yeah, it's a sound. So there's no auditory.
So it's big with
And
teenagers.
you don't actually find out who these people are until after you finish the game. It shows you all the gamer tags that you played.
No, I
So-
want that game so bad.
Yeah, it's a PS3 game exclusive. It's done by.
Damn it! I don't have
Is
one
the
of those.
twist that they're deaf people? Is that the twist?
I don't want to ruin it for you, but
M. Night Shyamalan.
it's one of those things. Yeah, it's like you're the person that killed everybody.
Oh,
Oh,
damn!
damn.
I hit that red
But,
button too many times.
Yeah, I mean those games are all really good. BioShock has been getting crazy amounts of coverage.
This is BioShock 2.
BioShock Infinite,
Well,
which is 3 technically.
Oh, okay, fine.
But doesn't hold anything to any of the other
And
games.
hang on, I played BioShock 1, right? And then that was that like the little girl.
The little
with thing,
girls, and the crazy powers.
Oh, I couldn't get past
Same
level
thing as
14.
BioShock Infinite.
So BioShock 2 was Infinite, right?
No, BioShock 2 was BioShock 2.
All right. And so what's the difference between is the Rails? Because I thought Rails was brought on the second one.
So one of the better reviewers that I've heard talk about BioShock is the fact that instead of you getting to the party and it's already over and you could see the aftermath, you're already at the party and you're the one causing the shit. So that's the way he explained it.
That's better than Angry Birds.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better than Angry Birds. We're going to have to see what happens with the Angry Birds TV show. That'll be one of the more interesting things.
So, James, I have something to contribute to
No.
James. Legit. So, Byron just asked me if Defiance is something worth bringing up, and you're into games.
Yeah,
so
Defiance
I ought
is
to
very
bring
similar.
up Defiance.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, have you watched the show? What do you think?
Oh, you're talking about the TV show Defiance.
Or the game.
Sorry, I was
Actually,
thinking Dishonored. I
I'm gonna
totally
let Byron talk,
screwed
see
up.
what happens. One sec.
So what they're talking about is actually a show on Showcase right now, which is a show called Defiance, and you can play a massively multiplayer online game.
Which I love the show, but I'm not a gamer, so I'm curious to know what you think.
It's the usual RPG, but apparently, oh my god, there's Angry Birds gummies.
That's a present
Oh
from,
my God,
from Number
yeah.
Crunchers to Bonnie.
Oh, what?
Yes.
From Number Crunchers to Bonnie.
Yes. It's to celebrate.
I've been sending Randall stuff to Number Crunchers too. I don't get any Angry Birds gummies.
Because you never talk about Angry
You're not on
Birds.
forums. eh?
Oh, that's right. I guess yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna
you
have
gotta
to
be
suck
on
up to
Forbes.
somebody. You might as well do it on the Forbes person.
I just want to ask something about like these Angry Bird gummies.
Yeah.
It still blows my mind how Angry Birds is just a flash game. Or was like just a simple game. And I remember Angry Birds' predecessor was called
Crash the Castle.
Yeah, like that was an awesome flash game. But like,
Or artillery. There was artillery.
yeah,
before.
it had like
games, yeah.
trebuchets and catapults, and you would shoot rocks at castles and actually kill people, not birds and pigs and whatever. Yeah, I remember. I think it really hit me one day. I was in a craft store and I saw Angry Birds ribbon, and I was like, how big is this gonna get? Are we gonna get like an Angry Birds feature film?
There is an Angry Birds film,
like
coming out.
3D IMAX.
Yeah, there will be.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
There will be.
Like, okay.
Justin Timberlake.
You remember how like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Back for Us was like a big deal?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like it's acceptable. It's a family-oriented thing. I mean, you're pigs. You don't see any violence. You're just crashing into things. It's like they disappear.
And they got Star Wars.
And now they have daily rewards.
The pigs mock you.
Yeah, the pigs do mock you. Yeah.
And the birds make funny noises.
And the birds make hilarious
kids,
noises.
the kids love funny noises.
Well, I find it's often hard to predict exactly what ends up taking off.
Not really.
That's what she said.
That's thank you. That's why Harry Potter still occasionally kind of blows my mind, considering that I was as a kid. I ended up reading a lot of sort of.
Did you live under the stairs with your uncle?
No, but I was.
He's now dead.
But I ended up reading a lot of boy wizard stories.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting that none of those took off, but Harry Potter that came later ended up being the one.
Timing.
Which
It's all about timing.
It is about timing, and I mean, if you know the story of J.K. Rowling, she was in a car, living out of a car, while she was writing that book. I mean, it is about timing, and it's about knowing your audience and the accessibility of the characters. That isn't Harry Potter isn't necessarily the same as like boy wizard stories usually. There's a reason that Superman took off the way he did back in the day, and Captain America.
That is because he could fly.
Well, Captain America started off as propaganda,
And he was Canadian.
He was.
It did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Captain America was.
Captain America was propaganda back in the day.
Superman's not really Canadian. He's
Superman was drawn by Canadians.
Canadians say Superman's Canadian, so Canadians can feel better about themselves.
Hey,
Superman is Canadian.
He
though.
left the country when he was like 5 or something, right? I mean, Canada. No, it's true. It's like Canada's like the Hotel California. Like you can never leave, right? Like you're always Canadian.
He only left because he couldn't get any work in Canada.
No, he left because he the guy that made Superman did leave Canada, but
and he was like a child. Right?
Hang on, he was
How
writing
old
for the
he?
Huntington Post, wasn't he?
dude, do you not watch Canadian Heritage Minutes? He was not 5 years old.
No, that
okay, that commercial aired for 7 freaking years or more. Like, if you can't watch that commercial and recite it word for word, you should get your citizenship revoked. God damn it!
Hey, that was almost as good as my favorite Gaming with James line is. If you're going to bring a stripper home to meet your parents, you better make sure she's fiscally minded and forward thinking.
It's true, though. I mean, but like, okay, Superman totally is Canadian, right? Like, it's just the way it is. He was from Toronto. The guy was from Toronto.
A Canadian artist, but like the writer wasn't Canadian, and the publisher wasn't Canadian
because Canada didn't have comic books back then.
Well, I had them like a couple of years later.
Yeah.
That was the Hudson Bay Company
I
banning
gotta
that thing.
I have to ask a comic book hot button question. All right. All right. So if you're like,
yay, Iron Man 3.
Actually, my question was
Canadian.
Yay, Iron Man 3 ? Thank you, James.
Yeah.
Could you please answer that?
What?
Yay, Iron Man 3 ? Legit though. So if you're siding with, hey, Superman's an American, despite all the whole copyright issue thing,
he's not even
with American. I'm not talking to you, James. I'm talking to this guy.
But it's called Gaming with James, dick.
I know. But
All right, it's not comics with Jeff.
Yeah. I want to hear what you're saying. Go.
Yeah.
Go.
My
Fine.
question is, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, whose side are you on as far as who came up with shit?
I think that in most cases I'm against Stan Lee. I think that
He's coming to town next week. You're going to tell him about that.
Hey, does he have a music store here in Vancouver?
That's Tom. That's
though
Tom.
actually, actually
brother.
could be except
That's
Steve
his brother.
Ditko. I think in that case I'm more
brother Tom.
likely to be on Stan Lee's side just because Steve Ditko is insane.
They're both kind of insane. I mean, that guy, the reason Stan Lee started creating
Insanely
Marvel.
wealthy.
Can we have him?
Well, okay, so
it could be seen on that.
so,
He is 92.
so one of the
Yeah, I
motivations.
can handle being that kind of insane.
Can we have him on the bunker?
Call me
Stan
crazy.
Lee, he's coming
Stan
next
Lee,
week.
he'll do anything.
Okay, so there was,
But
there
here's
was
the thing: like Stan Lee, when he was like him and Jack Kirby, when they're coming up with characters, he wanted to expose kids to science. That was one of the reasons for a lot of the characters they have, was to use advanced science concepts to get kids involved.
Okay, cool.
So if you didn't know that, just
but it's really bad science.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that they have.
I think kids should know about kryptonite.
There was one more, James. There was one more question.
That was
Okay.
DC.
And we're going to close off Gaming with James with this question.
Stanley.
Sure.
Now, he was going to send voicemail feedback, but he forgot. It was somebody that I was talking to earlier today.
Oh.
But his question was, and I'm going to totally screw it up, but I'm going to get the game.
As long as you get the
screwed
game
up.
right,
So I don't remember the game,
Yeah.
but I remember the question. And he's playing a game that's in beta right now, and he ended up so he got the game.
Yeah.
He's playing it, and there's a founder's option, so
Yeah.
you can pay $50 in a in-game purchase to become a founder of the game.
Oh.
And so he paid $50 because he wanted to support the game. And his question was, do you think that this is going to happen more often?
It already
in
is.
games? And is it going to cause the initial price of purchasing the game to come down because now they're going to focus on getting more of the game out there? Just like Marcel said a couple episodes ago, that people want to get their content out there, so why not give it out for free and then you'll make money in the long run in other ways?
That's not quite what I was saying, but that was kind of what I was saying. Never mind.
No, I mean, I mean, prices of games are going to be falling for sure. We'll have to see with the next Xbox and PS4 what exactly the standard is for it. But with a lot of companies, free-to-play models are the ones to go with, and crowdfunding has become very successful. So you got a lot of video games on Kickstarter that you can pay, $25, and you're in the beta, and you also get your name in the credits eventually. So I don't know if it causes the games to cost more, but it allows fans that really support the companies to put their money where their mouth is.
I have kind of a gaming question. With Veronica Mars, we're seeing this big thing where it's like, holy shit, like crowds actually funded a movie and they surpassed the 2 million goal and they
killed the
surpassed
shit
the
out of that.
stretch goal of 5 million. So my question is, has Kickstarter been around with video games longer than with movies?
Nope.
Because you're talking about it like it's a thing that's kind of around.
Well, I mean, I'm a little different. I've been following this stuff for quite a few years. And Veronica Mars is the first feature film from a major publication to actually get financing like that, right? Like a TV show that was dead and buried to come back from the ashes that actually had creative control, which is amazing. Instead of some fan being like, I want to buy the license, which you see a lot on Kickstarter, which is stupid. And you're like, that's great. You want $1 million to buy a license, but it's going to cost you way more than that. Like there's guys that want to make Homeworld. And it's like, well, you don't own the license. Sega owns the license.
Well, that's my question. I mean, with video games, do they pull this kind of shit more often than movies, or no?
Well, I mean, you really saw a spike in it last year with Double Fine getting their game, Double Fine Adventures, really kickstarted. And then you started to see a lot of the old guys come out of the woodwork being like, hey, we're going to do a Leisure Suit Larry game, or we're going to put on the Retro Grasses. So, I mean, video games seem to take advantage of this concept a little bit more than the movie makers or the TV shows because they actually have the licenses to the intellectual property, and that seems to be the differentiating factor. So if you own the licenses, yeah, you probably go ahead with it as long as your fan base is strong. Veronica Mars, I would have never guessed. I mean, I knew people loved it, but,
I think it's
$5 million? Like, they raised so much money in the first 24 hours that it just blew me away.
Well, I mean, part of it was the hype storm. Something like this had never quite been done.
Nope.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the next 5 years. But with video games, basically what I'm wondering, so it's kind of been established that this kind of thing can go on. They can kind of raise crowd funds.
Yeah.
Is it like a big thing in the video game industry, or
Well,
I don't even know what I'm talking about?
No. It is a big thing. I mean, a lot of people are looking into the crowdfunding thing, but it's hard because you get to have a little bit of burnout after enough times because people can only support so many different investments, right? Like you only have so much money that is disposable. So even though you want to support like 3 or 4 projects back to back to back, you might not have the funds to support that. So you have to, pick and choose. And I think that people enjoy Kickstarter, but they might just experience a little bit of burnout if everybody keeps asking for money.
All right.
My response is cool.
Cool. All
right.
One last question for Game with James, and it's kind of a crossover question between Gaming with James and Crazy TV Talk. The Xbox HD.
Big Brother's awesome.
Coming out. They're coming out with. They want to revive the show Heroes and bring it to Xbox HD. What do you think?
Fuck yeah, go.
Which one of us are we talking to?
Both
of you.
Okay, Heroes was an unmitigated disaster from beginning to end, and so I'm very excited that they're like, we have a property. and we're gonna like bring it back regardless of who will sign on, and we're gonna do it on the cheap, and we're just gonna fucking do it. And part of me is kind of like, what is the point of this? And part of me's kind of intrigued, but I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. Heroes is kind of a disaster, and they're literally saying we don't care who's signing on, we're just gonna reboot it with whoever we can get, and then throw in a bunch of new people and whatever. It's interesting. I don't know.
Might be good, might be a disaster.
It'll probably be a disaster.
Do you think they could get Hayden Panettiere back? I doubt it.
No.
All right, so that was
Gaming with James. Gaming with James. Follow me at @Twisted_Magic.
James,
Tweet
you
us your
sound
questions.
so excited.
Gaming with James.
Yeah! Gaming. Games. All right, back to the show.
Back to
wow,
the
that's amazing.
show.
I was
What
at
show?
warp, man. We have warp capabilities this show.
Did you guys hear that Twitter's making a big announcement on Good Morning America tomorrow?
Yeah, it's about Bonnie.
Bonnie blew up Twitter.
It's about their TV.
Give it to her.
It's about
Yeah,
their
they're gonna
TV
say, "Oh, we got
integration.
Bonnie on the show." It's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
but would it
you're
be
not
on
the
Good
Twitter
Morning
girl?
America?
Oh,
Because
shit."
it's with NBC, not ABC.
Is Twitter finally coming out?
Out of the closet, absolutely. Twitter is gay. It came here first.
All right. Thanks for listening to another Crazy Bunker Project podcast, episode number 136.
It's good. Good number 2 show. Actually, it was pretty together for a number 2 show. I mean, God,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Wow.
embarrassingly together. In fact,
And we got a lot of voicemail feedback in the last couple of shows, so keep them coming. 1-877-636-1474. It's a toll-free number. You can call from anywhere in the world.
and don't forget to mail us beer.
Join the conversation.
Yeah,
That's a reference to Craig Griffiths,
Get a
our
water
friend
break.
down under, who sent us a beer in episode.
Yeah, where the hell has he been? That lazy bastard. Oops,
He's been doing
Sorry, he's one of our biggest
Probably
sponsors.
actually working.
He's been doing podcasts.
Yeah,
And
trying
by
to
the
make
way, I
money
just
to
wanted
send
to
us
say
beer.
that Norm sent a couple voicemail feedbacks to Crazy TV Talk.
I did. I know.
Wait, how have we not capitalized on the norm?
Oh, I'm just being a
We
lazy
did. You
bastard.
weren't here.
Bob.
Oh,
So I'll send you
guilty.
I'll send you the email. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Au revoir.
Same bunker time,
Same bunker.
station.
Au revoir.
Bye, Ken.
Okay, that was surprisingly civilized.
I know.
Ridiculous.
So
That's
disappointed.
You guys,
God, it's like so
I know there was hardly any F.